Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andressa.
We are back, ladies, with another episode. We interviewed Lexi Teifke with TRE Homes on today's episode. She's from Austin, Texas. What a powerhouse. She's just doing so many cool things and such a neat person. What I think one of the things I think you'll get most out of today's episode was we talk a lot about balance on our show, right? How to create it, how to have more of it. And she's like, well, there's no such thing as balance. It's not work balance. It's work-life love. And you have to listen to the episode to really get an understanding what she means by that. But in a nutshell, to really get clear on roles and appreciate different things within your relationship, your family, and how every day can look like the other day. And that's a good thing. And she really says it very eloquently about what she does and how she approaches life with her family, her husband, and her business, and her one child and another one on the way. So you have to listen to it to kind of give her explanation on the work-life love.
Very powerful. And her husband and her run a 400-door property management company. And their approach to how they deal with landlords and how they run their own management for their own properties is pretty unique. They see the landlords as partners. Therefore, the approach is completely different. And that's something that you cannot miss. One thing that she also talk about is the branches. So how you scale your property management company by looking at what do you need in different branches. I am so excited for you to meet Lexi virtually and get a lot of information for her. It's really powerful, and I can't wait for you guys to listen to her.
Enjoy the episode. Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andressa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show. We have Lexi Teifke on our show today. How are you, Lexi?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to jump into your story and get into all the questions we prepared, as we are so diligent to prepare like 95 questions, and then we get to like 3 of them. But
that's true story.
So thanks for being here with us and all the ladies. And we're going to jump into your story. Like we do on every week when we have, we're back with all of you wonderful, wonderful women listening. We love to connect with you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being with us for another week of our show. And Andressa, I wanted to share just a quick little story about, you're like, okay, what are you going to share, Liz?
Because I don't know how you still have a voice.
So
after this past weekend.
So we're coming off of the Bigger Pockets had a conference this past few days in Nashville, their first conference like in 8 years. And I had the honor to be able to speak. And I was speaking on really, really scaling your multifamily business, which is something that my husband and I have done and made mistakes along the way and done some really good things and everything in between. So there's 3 breakout sessions. And just real quick, I was late to my breakout session because I was actually on a panel. So I'm like rushing to the workshop. I see like 30 people trying to get into this room. I'm like, is that the room I'm supposed to be in? So it was the room. So I'm like, oh my God, there's like so many people. Like meanwhile, it was like 100 seats and there's 1,200 people there, right? So you could do the math and there's 3 sessions, you're going to run out of space in one of these 3 rooms. So anyway, I was up there and people were being asked to leave. There's a fire hazard because where everyone was, people were like laying on the ground. Like it was crazy. I'm like, are all these people here to hear me talk? Like this is psychotic, I was like, way too much for me. But anyway, why I'm sharing this with everyone is what ended up happening was my husband was there with me and we got into solution mode. I'm like, you know what? Yes. All these people should not be turned away from a session they want to see at a conference. That's not right. They've come here to pay and they want to see what they want to see. So I said, Matt, go take all the people, the overflow, go find somewhere in this hotel and teach them something that would be useful. He's like, I'm on it. So he's like, everyone in the back, come with me. So he takes all this group and he goes outside and it was like kind of drizzling. And then he gets a chair and he's like standing. He looked like this preacher. Like
I know the
like
picture
this,
is on our Instagram page.
it was like he was like a
we
cult,
took a
like a
picture.
cult leader. Like, oh, everyone come with me to the promised land,
Oh,
you know?
God.
And so anyway, he spent like a half hour with these people and I ended up doing the presentation. Then I ended up doing another presentation. But what it reminded me of is when you get into these situations, and it was a good situation, right? It wasn't like this horrible thing. I was very grateful to speak and offer insight, at least the insight I had to share. But get into solution mode and like, okay,
Totally.
how can we serve who we're here to serve? You know, and it wasn't Mike. I didn't benefit. I didn't make any money from the conference. I was representing Bigger Pockets as a volunteer and as a supporter and someone who's involved in the organization. But I'm like, these people came to hear something. They deserve this. And that's where it was coming from. It was, and then the Bigger Pockets put a post on like, look at these two, they're a power couple. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't want all this attention. I just really wanted to serve and help. And I think if you come from a place of service, you tend to, do what you're here to do. So that's all I wanted to share.
No, absolutely. And then we can apply that everywhere else in our business instead of saying, oh, this is my max capacity. Maybe it is not. Maybe there is another solution for you to continue serving it. But maybe it's the max capacity for you, Liz Faircloth, that you cannot be physically in two different places.
Yeah.
That's when you really scale by having different people helping you out.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right? Taking over.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, I wanted to share that. But yeah, if those who did not go to the Bigger Pockets conference, I highly, highly recommend it. They're going to do it again. I don't know where, but stay tuned. They really put off a wonderful, wonderful conference of great education. So without further ado, I will welcome Lexi again to our show. Lexi has a wonderful story, and she's just doing some amazing things. She was one of our speakers in Austin at one of our Invest Her meetups, which was phenomenal. And what was so cool about her presentation was she had someone there doing a video, and then they posted it. It was just really well done. So you're doing a lot of great things, and we want to jump into your story. So question we like to ask women that are on our show is, what propelled you to get involved in real estate investing? And I know you're in property management, you have investments, but what got you into it initially?
Oh, great question. Well, first of all, thanks again for having me. This is just a lot of fun to kind of connect with the women in the industry, because as you've mentioned, it's very man driven, which is really fun for me, being in the management world, and it's fun to see women getting involved. But anyways, what compelled me to get involved, I would say, is probably my husband and I's longer term goal. So we've always really loved to travel. When we met in college, and our first trip together was actually a mission trip. We went to Africa, and we just instantly began this like mutual love and respect for seeing other cultures and traveling. So we've traveled a lot together. So one of our first initial goals when we got married was we would love for time and location to not be of the essence. Doesn't matter what time we're working. We both love to work. So we never wanted to say we want to retire at 20 or whatever. That's some people's goal, is to retire young. But we just wanted to be able to work when we wanted to and be able to work anywhere in the world and nobody really care where we are or even know where we are, which I think is a really cool thing about today. Like, look at us, we're all, connecting, and we're able to see each other. And it's like, we're sitting in the same room. You would never know we're all spread out. So I think that was what really compelled us. We saw real estate as our route to do that. We saw that if we started young, it was really kind of like building up a retirement account. The younger you start, the better off you can be. And I feel like real estate values, we're in Austin, so the values, we look back, we're like, man, if we would have started when we were like 10, like when I was 10 years old, the houses that are now like worth 500, 600, 700,000 were worth like 100. It's insane how crazy fast our city has increased in value. So we believe that the values are going to keep going, and that Austin's just a really unique place to invest. We believe in the city and what it's going. So anyways, we've started doing that. We started buying and holding young in order to get to our goal, which to me, keeping the goal in mind is always going to kind of give you that energy for the day to day. It definitely gets troublesome and it kind of weighs you down, but you got to just, focus on why you're doing what you're doing. I think your why is is a big importance.
100%. So when you look back, I don't know if you remember all the details, but when you look back at your first deal, the first one, what are the biggest lessons that you guys learned from it?
Oh, this is so funny because actually Friday of this past weekend, we just closed our first deal.
Oh,
So it sounds really funny because we invested in our first deal when we were 18. My husband and I, I'm sorry, not 18. We had just graduated college, so we were 21. And we just moved to College Station, and his aunt was trying to sell this little condo right next to the college. And we were moving in, and we thought, hey, it's so much better to buy than to rent. Let's put our money together. Let's see if we can do a down payment. We tried to get his aunt to sell her finance, but she wouldn't. So we put our money together, and we were able to borrow a little bit of the down payment as well and buy this condo. So we lived there for 2 years. And once we were moving out of College Station, my husband has this very always thinking outside of the box. He's like, no limits. Like, if we think we can't do something, there's always a different way to think about it, which is, I love that about him. It's great in real estate. So he said, hey, I know this is really weird. At this time we were moving out of College Station. So we decided to lease our condo. Okay. It was going to be our first buy and hold. College market, so easy, right? So we put it up for lease, and it was literally on the market for like 2 days maybe. And my husband comes home from school, and he's in master school at this point. He comes home and he says, hey, this guy's going to come over and look at the condo. And I'm like, oh, perfect. And he's like, yeah, but he's interested in buying it, and we're going to seller finance to him. And I'm like, what? Like, this is risky. And he's like, listen, the thing you need to know about seller financing is you can always get it back if they don't pay you. And I'm like, okay. And the guy's willing to put $30,000 down. And I'm like, what? Where did this guy get this money? And I was like, this is weird. Well, it turns out his family owned a lot of gas stations, and they were invest in them. And then he didn't want to put all of the money through the gas station, so he would keep some of the cash, which is a little bit sketchy, but it was a long story. He didn't have his permanent residency yet, so his taxes were higher. And so he was trying to scoot around it a little. And so he had the cash. He's like, I make plenty of money. And so we ended up doing this deal. Well, long story short, he called us. There's a lot of things in the middle. We actually at one point thought we were going to have to foreclose on him, but he called us on Friday and said, hey guys, I want y'all to come to College Station. This is 5 years later. He's been paying $500 a month since then. And we're like, no, we can't go to College Station right now. We got stuff going on. He said, well, I'm coming to Austin tonight and meeting you. We're like, ACL is going on. It's like the busiest time of the year. He's like, it's okay. I'm going to come meet you guys. He comes and he brings $27,000 cash to pay us
in a brown bag.
It was so sketchy. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? He's like, can y'all do me a favor and not deposit all of it at the bank and don't scatter your deposits? And he's being real sketchy. I'm like, I'm just so glad to be done with that deal. Cause ever since then I'm like, but I just laugh. I'm like, we finally closed our first deal. It's completely closed. So our first deal was seller financing, and that kind of, I think really set the pace for the rest of our deals, because it let us know that there's a different way to do something. It may not be your original plan, but you can figure it out and make it work.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in. Seller financing, I think, is a very discussed
I
strategy.
Agree.
I mean,
yes.
And for the ladies listening, I will, episode 78 of our show, Anna Kelly goes into some great experiences with seller financing. So I just wanted to put a little shameless plug on there for another episode. But regardless, seller financing, for the women listening, in a very simple way, is that in essence, the seller becomes the lender, right? So yes. in a very simplistic way. And for some sellers, they want when you buy a property, they want the chunks of money, that chunk of money to come back to them. And they need that for different things, right? They're going to do a 1031, or they just want it because they're at the age where they just want to, liquidate their properties and go to Florida, whatever reason. But the seller financing works really well for those sellers who actually want a monthly payment.
Yeah.
They just don't want to deal with the like all of us, sometimes the headache and the managing of the property anymore,
Right.
and the X, Y, and Z, and fill in the blank. So, for the ladies listening, definitely like do some due diligence. We don't want to we don't need to talk an hour about seller finance, but do some due diligence about that as a strategy. Because
Yes,
for the
it's a great
right
strategy.
sellers, that could be a great way that you can get your, very little money down on a deal. And it's not just private money or borrowing the money from someone or a hard money lender. Seller financing could be a phenomenal strategy for the right seller, I will say.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well,
So-
I want to piggyback on that too and say, especially for older people who have purchased real estate long time ago, and now like their profit margin is going to be so huge. They don't need all that money up front. They just need monthly installments. They don't have to pay taxes on all that profit.
Yep.
And then they just get these monthly payments. It's an awesome deal for older people. I think it's like the way to go for sure.
So for the women listening, if that's a strategy you want to go after, you really want to be seasoned on the advantages of it. So then when you talk to a seller and they have a profile, right, that you talk to that seller, you'll be able to quickly say, this could be a great seller financing strategy
Option.
because it's a win-win, right? It's not going to work for every seller, but for
Right.
certain ones, especially for the ones like you're saying that are a little older, they don't need that big chunk of money, or quite honestly, they don't want to pay the tax, or they're not going to go buy something else or what have you. It's a
Right.
great tax deferred strategy.
For sure.
And they make monthly income, especially if they need that.
For sure.
So yeah, that's really good stuff. So when you say you closed your first deal, you mean you sold your first deal as well?
We sold it. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
we
it became full
closed
circle.
it off. So yes, it came full circle. It was our first deal. And finally, 5 years later, we're completely done.
What were the things that didn't go well? What were those things that, if you knew what you knew today, now you have 14 plus stores, correct?
That we own. Yeah.
Yeah. That you own. You manage a lot, which we'll go into, which is a whole other interesting topic. What now, what would you have done differently? On that first deal, would you have done anything differently?
I honestly wouldn't have, because for me, I'm a very conservative person. I graduated in education. I always joke with my husband that I would be like living in a cute little cottage if it wasn't for him, and I would like have my retirement fund, and I would like, that's it. Like I'm a play it safe kind of person. I grew up in a pretty safe family, and we didn't take a lot of risks. But my husband on the other end is like, he loves taking risks. Like the riskier, the more fun it is. Like he likes that. So I think the first deal was necessary to be different, because it made me kind of wash away all of my prior thinking about how you have to spend money to make money. And it really kind of made me think about things differently and think, oh wait, that maybe there is like a lot of different ways to do this. And so that kind of led into every other deal, made me think a little different, instead of just the standard way of financing, a standard way of buying it and then renting it. There's so many different routes you can take. And so I think that was the fun part about our first deal. There were bumps in the road. There was a couple of months that went by where we thought we were going to have to foreclose on him. Then his brother called us and was like, hey, my brother ended up in jail and I'm going to be making the payments for a while. And we were like, what is going on?
Oh my gosh.
It was so crazy. But at the end of the day, like that taught me that things are going to go wrong along the way too. And especially when we got into property management, that's why you have a property manager. So if you like fold your hands at, like, if you're just like, I give up at every little thing that goes wrong along the way, then like you can't be in management. You really can't be in investment properties or flips, or like there's so many.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have to get good at adjusting to what's going on and say, okay, this isn't working. Maybe we can try this thing. And so I think that our first deal honestly set the pavement for that.
And I want to touch base on what you're saying, because sometimes we see too many TV shows and it's so smooth. And the profit has a lot of zeros. And even though the contractor or something goes wrong, they always get it fixed very quickly in a couple of days, and everything is perfectly sounds great.
Yes.
I think that in real life, instead of saying, oh, I wish that this specific issue didn't happen with me, as we grow the company, as we do deals that are a little bit more complicated, the expectation, it needs to be real as well. So don't expect the negotiation to be easy. Don't expect the seller to accept your first offer. Don't expect the contractor or the project to go as smooth as possible. It's not that I'm being pessimist. I just want to make sure that it is just part of the process. And if we are going to get irritated and stressed out with everything that goes wrong, then it's just not a good way of dealing with things. So all what I'm saying is that we need to get wiser in terms of how we handle those things, because they are going to happen.
Absolutely.
And they're just lessons that are presented to us for us to get to where we want to be. If your goal is to just flip a house and that's it, you got a taste of it, you like it or dislike it, and that's it, fine. But if you're looking to do more complicated deals, your level, your skills, and your level of like patience, your skill set, you really need to get to another level. And the way to do that is to really surround yourself with people that have done it, or be a pioneer and really create another way of doing things. So for you, Lexi, and your husband, you guys are now managing about 400 doors.
Yes, that's right.
It's a lot of doors and toilets.
Oh my gosh, yes. You wouldn't believe the maintenance that comes through.
Right. So how you guys first initially you guys were thinking about doing for yourselves, right? And then how was the transition, or not the transition because you never left the plan that you originally had, but how you added the property management into your goals?
Yes, good question. It's funny. Every property manager that I know that I'm friends with, we all agree that property management chooses you. You never choose it. But yeah, we actually, Matt's mom, he owns some rental properties too. So he kind of grew up in that world of seeing landlord, and she's never managed her own properties. She had a family friend managing her properties. And we just saw a need for more oversight. She wasn't involved at all. She was like very emotionally attached when she did get involved. So it was like, let's leave her out of it. But when we moved to Austin, we were like, wow, you really could be managing your portfolio a little bit better. And so our plan was to take over her properties and then to start building our portfolio. And so Matt actually got offered this really great commercial job when we moved to Austin. And so I started managing the portfolio, and I had some experience of working with a management company when I was in college. So I knew the ropes. I knew how to get started on it. I was kind of blindly going into the technology world of it because I wanted to do things a little more efficiently than I had originally learned how. So it started with his mom's and then my own. And then I started basically being just an agent on the side. I was helping find our deals, but also I was being a buyer and seller's agent. And people just started like asking me like, oh, what's going on? And so I would tell them that I'm managing properties. So it's funny, just word of mouth started kind of growing. Then I got this call from this lady one day and said, hey, I heard from a friend of a friend that you're managing properties. And I was like, I guess I'm managing properties. So long story short, we ended up actually partnering with a company that Matt worked for in College Station called United Realty.
Okay.
And we wanted like a really good foundation. Like we were like, hey, this could go places. But we wanted some like a bigger company behind us. I think that was like what made us feel a little bit safer, not getting involved so blindly. And so I had some like great guys that were like helping train me and like seeing like how to do things on a really large level, because at that point we were like, maybe we can grow this into something that could be like an actual business. That partnership lasted about a year, and we had only grown the portfolio to like, I think 35 or 40 in a year. And we ended up splitting ways and saying, hey, it wasn't a mutual thing. They were still in College Station. We had this like different vision than they did, and they weren't really fond of ours. So it was a mutual split. We ended up going separate ways. And when we did, we created TRE Homes, and we started paying more attention to branding and creating this more of a spirit of a partnership with our owners, where we're like-minded investors, and hey, we're a team, and the only reason we're managing properties is because we're investors ourselves. So you have to have our same like-minded investor. Like you can't, we're all about taking care of our tenants and keeping them for the long term and really handling maintenance the right way and quickly. And so owners that were like, hey, I'm looking for the cheapest property manager to just get the job done, that's not for us. That's not who we are. And so just kind of sticking to, I feel like that, that this is my lane and this is who I'm trying to become really helped us start growing. So I actually managed just myself until we were at 200 properties. I had me, and then I had Andrew, now our marketing guy. He was helping me with some of the leasing. And then I got pregnant and I was like, I'm going to have to start making this a business instead of it just being me doing everything. So yeah, that's kind of how it evolved. And now that we've made it a team and I'm pretty much out of the day-to-day, which is so nice. It's been going great and growing a lot faster now. So now we're like a business.
Right. I think that what you're saying about like taking care of your tenants, right? It's such a big deal.
Yes.
If you asked me a couple of months ago, Andressa, do you see yourself managing properties? I was like, hell no, I don't have the patience that it takes to it. But let me share with you guys. I don't think I shared that with you yet, Liz. So recently I joined a commercial developer for the commercial part. And obviously they have a property management company to take care of the commercial and residential. And I oversee a lot of that stuff. And then I got a message from one of the tenants saying, so sorry, I am behind the rent for this month. This is horrible. It like a long email. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to read this entire email. I'd rather have a conversation with her and to figure out what is like so horrible like in this, because I'm not grasping if she is just behind a couple of days or we can work something out. And then I call her and she was really emotional. And I took a step back and I was like, would you like to share with me what's going on? Not that you have to, but I just want to get in your world and really to understand what's happening with you as a person. And this lady really took a step back and just like, I just moved to Philadelphia from an abusive relationship. I'm still getting, up and running here. Things are not easy because there's a lot of things, moving pieces. And I really appreciate you if you guys could wait, 2-3 days. And then I was like, that's not an issue. We can certainly do that. But I just wanted to extend the invitation that you have my number here, because she doesn't have family members or anything, if you want to talk. And she started like really crying because she really needed to just talk and really express that. And then I was like, that's what it's all about, really connecting with people. And that's what you were saying, Lexi, that the core is really taking care of people.
Yes.
And they will take care of you and your property no matter what. And they will stay for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
She shared with me that she now feels that she found a safe place that she can call home. And do you think that she's going to take care of that property? Absolutely, she will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I think property management is all about, not just like sending your investors monthly report about how things are going, but really creating that relationship with the tenants. And I know it takes time. I know it takes a lot of effort to do that. So the team that you have right now, do they have specific roles? Or for the ladies that are listening and they're growing their portfolio and they're just like, okay, this can be also a revenue for me. How many people is needed to run and not get crazy and pull your hair?
That's a really good question. And I love your points about taking care of the tenants and just mutually respecting them. That's definitely at the core. One of the things that we really focus on as a team. But I've kind of struggled through finding out how many people is needed. And I really value not stressing my team out too much. It's a high stress industry, and we like to add some positivity and light to that wherever we can.
Yeah.
And so to me, part of that is not giving my team too much, not overloading my people, letting them go on vacation, because property management has a huge turnover. It's kind of known for that. So I never wanted to give I knew what it was like for 3 years. I managed our portfolio. I knew what it was like to have everything weigh on me. I couldn't take a sick day. I had to still, if somebody was having an emergency maintenance, I had to handle that. And so that was a hard time for me. I couldn't take a weekend getaway. I could never turn my phone off. And so I knew creating that, I wanted my team to not be in that situation. And so I tried the portfolio, but I feel like that's very difficult to create, because all of the stress lays on that one person. And if something happens to them, your business is in jeopardy. And your investors get attached to that one person, and then they don't know what to do if they have to talk to somebody else, which I didn't want either, because that was what happened to me. Everybody was always like, well, where's Lexi? I need to talk to Lexi. And they're like, well, she just had a baby.
She just grew a human being inside her for 9 months.
Give her a break. And
that's
they're like,
all.
well, I want to talk to her about my tenant. Like, people are so like, they get obsessed with their one person. And I wanted our investors to more get comfortable with a specialist, because it's hard to be good at leasing, accounting, and maintenance. Like, to me, you might be a superhuman and be able to do that. But as you grow your doors, you can't be a specialist at all three of those. So what I have done is I have gotten a specialist in each of those things. And I'm just extremely blessed, because my husband's from second grade on baseball coach is our maintenance coordinator. So he is just so loyal, and he's just very knowledgeable. So owners used to call me and say, hey, I see that this AC bill came through. I just got a new AC like 2 years ago. Why was this needed? And I'd be like, I don't know. Let me call the vendor real quick. And so I was this third party. Well, now Robert can, when a vendor tells him, hey, this is needed, he can question them and be knowledgeable about exactly what he's talking about, because he knows what an AC, he knows the basic level of all the maintenance. He actually was like our go-to handyman for a long time. And then I was like, I see a lot of value in you. I want to make you our maintenance specialist or coordinator. And so he doesn't really do any of the work anymore. He just oversees all of our vendors, and really does a control on quality and pricing. And I mean, vendors we're always having issues, they're in and out. We have a lot of loyal ones that stay with us, but it's a struggle for sure. So then for accounting, I have my sister-in-law who loves numbers. She can sit behind a desk all day and be totally into it. I cannot do that. I go crazy.
God bless her.
Oh my gosh. I love the way that you really focus on what do you like and what is your calling for service?
Yes.
Put you into that seat and let's just let you flourish, right? Andrew was doing leasing, but he wasn't passionate about it. And then we moved him to marketing, and he's the guy who came and videoed me, and he's so passionate about it. And
yes.
And Matt,
and it came out so great, the video.
He is fantastic. And so I feel like a lot of times, if you work really good with people, let's find what you're really good at. And then I have my best friend from college as my office manager. So we've created a lot that people say that doesn't work for them. Never hire your family or your friends, but it's worked very well for us. We are a family. We have cried at our meetings. We love each other. And we're just there for each other. So when one of us needs a break, and I got to check out, this past weekend, Robert went to a family reunion and he went camping, and I was like, you're not answering maintenance calls. So I took the calls for him that week for the weekend. We still operate like a small business. We don't have our phone answering services go to someone that we don't know for the weekend. A lot of companies, we might be going there in the future, but the way I've built our company is like that we call it branches, because we're TRE Homes. So we have branches of our company. And then eventually, once we need more people under if accounting is just getting crazy busy, we'll hire somebody to go under Annika, and she would oversee them. So I also have a virtual assistant who was my very first, my baby. Like I'm so in love with her. She's amazing. She's in Agua Calientes, Mexico. I got her from Gwen at Anna Quinn. Anybody needs any references, let me know, or referrals. I can definitely I speak so highly of them. And
she handles, exactly, Lexi? What is
it's
that?
a virtual assistant. So
no, I know what a virtual assistant.
Okay, I'm
like,
sorry.
You said, thank you. I'm like, I'd be really, really behind times if I didn't know what a virtual assistant was. Although I really need a virtual assistant. Hey. So your point's well taken. But you said a company. Is it a company that sources virtual assistants? Is that what you're? Oh, okay.
And they source virtual assistants only for property management companies.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah.
Yes.
What's the company called?
They're called Anaquim.
Yeah, you have to send that to me and I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, it's a little funny, Anequim. But yeah, I'll send it to you. And they own a management company in Omaha, Nebraska.
Cool.
And
great.
So they goes hand in hand. They run a call center. They're
wow.
Gwen and her husband are like the most power couple I know. Y'all should have them on your show. They're
awesome. That's awesome. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. So anyways, she was my first employee after Andrew. So he was helping me with leasing, and I needed somebody to just help me in the back end because I get so busy with paperwork and answering emails. And so I got Gabby, and now she basically runs the show in the back end. She's like everybody's assistant, which I know is another people's that's a no-no. She, is probably swamped, but she's just our superstar. She's awesome. And then we have leasing, which just recently we've partnered with a company called Sunroom. They are the guys who started Favor, which I don't know if you guys have that up there, but it's basically a food running, actually anything running Favor company. So they'll even if you left your computer at Andresa's, then they would go grab it for you and bring it to you for $5.
Really?
Really cool. So the guys who started that, they started a leasing company, and all they do is leasing. And they're kind of packing it with technology to help tenants better. And they're doing things a little bit differently than we are. And so my husband is Mr. Networker. And he met these guys and they were like, hey, let's partner and we'll take all of your leasing and then we can kind of grow together. And so we did. So now we don't handle our leasing anymore, although we still refer to it as a branch of our company because we work side by side with Sunroom. We're just kind of mutual partnership now.
I love what you're saying. I mean, there's so many things to kind of unpack with what you're saying, because you could you could just go down the building a business path. You can go down. Yeah. There's so much, but I think what is really, really, really powerful with what you're saying, because I'm thinking about the women listening, right? And they might have 5 doors, might have 50 doors, might have 100 doors, but they're listening about the women who are self-managing. They're landlords, right? They don't, they may not want to scale this thing and build their own property management company, although that's an interesting path that many people are in, and I was in as well. We decided not to scale and keep going. We decided to, because it wasn't aligned with our business goals. And I think you have to know that. And for you, it aligned, which was awesome. And you've built this amazing business, which what you're saying, I'm like, yep, I'm glad we did what we did, because what you're saying is
crazy. It gets really complex.
But what you're saying, though, I think is really powerful for the women listening that are self-managing is you don't necessarily need to build a property management company to be a better self-manager, but you do need to, I love what you said, look at the leasing bucket, look at the accounting bucket, look at the maintenance bucket, look at your overall support bucket. If you are managing the business and managing your properties, you cannot do all of those things amazingly, and your personality and your skills probably lend itself to one of those things more than the other. So I would challenge the women listening is you're probably, for the overwhelmed women, which we all are at times.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, right. I can raise my hand every moment of the day. But, we all have to really look at coming from this conference, one of these one of the guys that were talking, he was amazing. He hangs out with Richard Branson, and he's worth $1 gazillion. Of course I have to use gazillion, but he's just a really neat guy. And he said, once a week, you have to look at what is working and what is not working in your business. And if you don't take that air level view once a week, not every quarter, every year, literally every week, and have like this, like coming to Jesus meeting with yourself every week. You have to do that as a leader and as someone who is becoming financially free or is financially free looking to build your wealth. So I love that. And why I'm saying that is I would encourage and challenge the women listening is to really think about it. If you are self-managing and you are someone who knows that your business could be more efficient, which all of us probably could be like, yep, there's something here that could be more efficient.
Yes.
Start to challenge yourself. Where can you maybe get the support? Whether it's a VA or somebody who does leasing really well and you do this really well, or at the very minimum, get a bookkeeper. You shouldn't be doing that. Get a bookkeeper. That's the first thing you should do. So I love what you said. Even it's applicable to people who might be managing their own properties and their own units. It's not just for people who might be, what I love what you're saying is that it is applicable if you're looking to build something as well. It's
Absolutely.
really for both. So I just wanted to make that connection.
I like what you're saying. And, to piggyback off of that, I think one of the first things that anybody should do, whether they're looking to grow their portfolio or stay small and manage their own, is write processes and do it the same way every single time. That was what got me in a lot of trouble in the beginning. Like I'd be like, why did I do it like that? And then I'd have to like go back and spend all this time figuring my own mistake out. Once I started writing processes and knew like I was like getting better at record keeping, and historical data is huge with property management. You have to be able to go back and prove that you did something, whatever you did. And if you're not good at it and you're not organized, it becomes very difficult. So that's probably number one advice. But you're right. Like if you're not good at it, it's taking you way longer than it should. And you have to look at what is your time worth.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.
And you can scale if you don't have that process in place, because you're going to get people to come to your business and you're going to say, okay, how I'm going to teach this person what I want to have from her here. So it's really like crucial to have SOPs in place. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's super important, and it's hard, but it's important. And I just came off of one of our investor members spoke on processes, and she said the first thing you need to do is don't be so quick to delegate. You got to figure out what you can automate first, and there's so many tools out there to automate.
That's Stephanie Bono?
Yeah.
Or
no, Stephanie Cabral. Yeah. And she said you have to look at what you can automate first, and then what you can't automate, you delegate, and then what you can build that process and system for. And you can build it for both of those two things. But I think that's so important. We always hear hire a team and build a team and build a team. And sometimes you can really quite honestly take things off their plate, save you money, right? Because I mean, we're looking to do that. We're building our investor relations team, and I'm like, I want a support person for this role, but I want to see what we can automate first, and then what can't be automated, because you can't automate everything in helping with working with our investors, obviously. Yes. But there are certain things.
To go back and be like, oh, I've given you all these things that like.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile,
and like then you're like trying to find things for them to do. And
yes. Yeah. So that's really awesome. I love what you're up to. We talk a lot about on this show about balance, and especially women at the helm of so many different things, right? And now, how old is your little one?
9 months, and we're expecting.
Okay, so you're busy.
Congrats!
Thanks. Yeah.
I want to read something you said, and I love what you said, because we ask on our questionnaire. We ask all of our amazing women we have on the show. We ask about their secrets to balance, right? Because there's no secrets really, but we're curious to get inside their head to see what they're doing that's working for them. And you said something really interesting. You said, we don't believe in balance. We believe instead of work-life balance, we believe in work-life love. So I have to ask you, please share with us what you mean by that, and how you've been able to apply that to your world.
So just to kind of give you a little backstory, my husband got his real estate license when he was 18. We first met and he was jumping into his license, and he is the kind of person, he is insanely dedicated. So whatever he's doing, he's going to do it 150%. So his phone would ring at 11 o'clock at night with a crazy buyer that, wants an update with his deal. And Matt would answer his phone like it was at 9 a.m. in the morning. He never was mad at the person for calling. He never told them to respect his time, And I grew up in this home where like the phone, we weren't allowed to answer the phone past 6 p.m. in my house. Like we couldn't talk on the phone past then. It was like, your day's over with your friends, it's family time. And the weekend was like, it was weekend. Like we don't work on the weekend, it's the weekend. And so I had to really train my mind to think differently and to, if I'm going to be with this man, then I'm going to have to love him through his crazy work schedule whenever he's working. I had to kind of let go of my expectations of, oh, now you're working and now you're not paying attention to me, which I did in the beginning. And it caused a lot of like friction, right?
Sure.
And so now it's like, okay, yeah, like we may be having a family picnic or we may be out on the boat in the weekend. But if somebody calls you and they need something, then like we can't put ourselves above that, you know, like at least answer your phone and say, hey, I'm kind of busy right now. Can I get back to this on Monday if it's not that important? But he always puts everybody's needs in front of his own. And I've come to really respect that about him. So we love what we do. We have definitely structured our life to where we can maybe play on a Tuesday, but we might work on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So Matt's taught me that every day is the same. Why dread a Monday? Why not love a Monday?
Yes.
Why can't you answer your phone on a Saturday morning? Why can't you do emails on a Sunday afternoon? It's your whole life is like one big life, and you will have family and you'll have work, but it's your whole life. And so why not enjoy all of it? And so we have chosen to do work, life, love. And a lot of times, like my little boy will be like running around the desk while I'm getting something done. And, you know, some days it's stressful if I have something come up, but I have tried to build it. We also have this thing in our family where we say, what's your precious cargo right now? So we feel that God has puts that precious cargo in your life, and it may be a gift that you have. It may be a certain thing or a certain person, but your precious cargo is your responsibility to take care of, and you're entrusted with that. And so right now we feel that my precious cargo is our babies. I need to put that as my top priority. And then my husband's precious cargo is building our business. So I have taken on the role of like, you know, I'm the house, I care for our house and I care for our family. And he's making sure that his precious cargo is taken care of. So at the beginning of our business, my precious cargo was our business. And so it's life is always changing. And I think you have to just be willing to adjust to that and not have expectations on work and play and life, and just do it all at once.
I love that. And I'm with you because I was like
hashtag work, life, love. Like that's a new hashtag, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like why Monday needs to be this like, oh gosh.
I know.
And then why Friday is like, thank God it's Friday. No, I don't want to do that. Like thank God it's Friday or hump day or no.
Well, and I think that's
depressing.
We hate Mondays. We've created that for ourselves because we refuse to work on a Sunday afternoon. And then Monday is so stressful, especially in property management. You get all these work orders.
Yeah. And you're like bombarded. It's
crazy. So if, you can just kind of keep up. I feel like you'll just be a lot more sane and able to kind of keep functioning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And then like imagining like Monday at the beach.
Yeah.
Who knows? I want life without names for the days. I don't know what days today. It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. I love that. Yep.
I think it's very powerful too with what you've done with your husband. So like, you know, that's tough what you did to be able to respect and honor something that who he was and who he wanted to be. And that worked for him. And then to make it important to you and to say, this is who he is, as long as he's being respectful and we're together and it's not like all day. There's sounded like there's boundaries around it. And that's made it work. And I think that's very special, because what ends up happening is people get resentful, and then there's stories made up, and then you can go down that whole path, right? Of what that means, and you're not here for us. But you were able to like look at it in this holistic way and really say, this is something that is working for our family, and this is how it's going to work. And these are the boundaries. And I think that's how you make things work.
Thanks. Well, and let me just tell everybody, like, I don't want everybody to think this is like the perfect situation and like it's, all rainbows every day, because there's definitely hard days. And I have to sometimes pull Matt in and say, okay, I know your precious cargo is our business, but like you're literally have like, feel like you've abandoned your family for like 2 weeks. And now I need you to focus. Like, and then I'm like, we just need to go on a 2-hour walk and you have to leave your phone. And like, sometimes we have to like reset,
Sure.
you know, because we get, and he is just such a hard worker that I have to do those checks with him every now and then. And he has to do those checks with me too, you know? But getting your priorities out of whack can definitely lead to like frustration. And a lot of times like you close down and you don't even know like, oh, why is my life kind of jumbled right now? And and I always find that it's my priorities aren't where they should be. So I need to take a look at that. And also like Matt's really not a scheduled person. And I like thrive, like for the day to day, I love my schedule. I get up at 5, I do the same thing. My morning is like so sacred to me. Matt's not like that. And I had to learn like, okay, we might be different in these ways. But like I still have to stay and know what's important to me to keep myself sane, because I find that when I start not caring about my schedule as much and I start like sleeping in or not caring about my priorities, then I forget to respect Matt and his. And so I'm like, okay, I really got to take care of myself. I got to refocus and then I can like be a better wife and a better mom. But
and your husband's name is Matt.
Yes, I know we have the same husband's name.
I was just gonna say, I feel like you're describing my husband right now. I'm like, oh my God, are we like, we have like carbon copy husbands or something, you know?
And their names are Matt.
Right, Jessa?
That's exactly, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. We're going to have to introduce them. We have a theory that we've never met a Matt that's not cool. So.
Oh my God. I say that. No, Lexi, I say that all the time. I'm like, I met one of our investors.
Every Matt is cool.
they're such nice guys, right? They're not, I've never met a jerk.
True. I'm going into my head right now. Yeah.
I met one of our investor leaders this past weekend. Her husband's name is Matt. And I'm like, you're a sweetheart. Of course you are. Like, of course you are, because every Matt I meet is just the nicest guy. So,
and I'm like, okay, if your name is Matt and you're a jerk, like I can't know you because I
don't know any. Yeah, that's really funny. Lexi, I love what you're up to. I love what you're saying, and I'm sure the women listening also really appreciate it. I love that precious cargo. But where can the women listening that want to connect with you learn more about what you're up to? You're up to so many amazing things. So where can they learn more about you?
Thank you so much. I'm kind of in the back end of the operation side, but I still have a Facebook. I'm on Instagram. We have a website, trehomes.com, and it's TRE Homes with 1 T. And then my husband, Matt, and our marketing manager, Andrew, have created a podcast as well. And it's called Young, Wild, Financially Free. And I'm on that every now and then as well. But they interview lots of great people. So listeners, check that out. And yeah, I'd love to connect if anybody has any questions about anything. I'm very easy to get a hold of, and I would love to help. I'm all about the women network of investors. So this was really exciting to be on.
Awesome. And all this information you guys can find on our show notes. Now we're going to transition to our fabulous 3 questions. And the first one, Lexi, is what's the most transformational book you have ever read?
Oh, hands down, Power of Positive Thinking, Norman Vincent Peale. Best. I mean, I just highly recommend that book. The name of it doesn't even hardly speak to what it's for. It's very, just transforms your inside out.
Powerful. The second question is, what's the most powerful routine you do to create a financially free and balanced life or love life?
Like that. I guess I'm going to have to go back to my morning routine, because just keeping myself balanced gives me the energy to be able to work towards our financial goals. Gives me the energy to be a better lover and mom and wife and business owner. So just, find your routine of what works best and just keep at it. Do it every day. And I feel like it has empowered me. I can't tell you how much.
Awesome. And the last question is, which woman, famous or not, has inspired you the most?
Wow, which women? Dang it. I know later in the day I'm going to look back and be like, I should have answered something different. Gosh, I love like inspirational women, powerful books. This is like an oldie but a goodie, and I always go to her when I'm having a bad day, is Joyce Myers, because she's just like so tough, I feel like, and I feel like I am not that tough and I like need her strength. But yeah, she's been a really big motivational speaker since I was little. I've always been drawn to her. So
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Lexi, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing all your amazing insight and really sharing who you are and what you stand for with the women listening. I think that's, always so meaningful. We love getting into the core content of real estate investing as well, but you sharing your philosophies and how you've been able to make your world work and your life work is I think above all of us, what we really are so appreciative of. So thank you for being with us and sharing your story.
Oh, thank you guys, and vice versa. I feel like y'all are very open, and I feel like I already know who y'all are. So I appreciate y'all being so easy to talk to.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lexi.
Have a great day, guys. See
You
y'all.
too. Bye. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share it with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.